welcome to this episode of Cooking with Dave and Maggie behind the camera. Hola, Maggie. We're gonna do something a little bit different, but still fairly comforty and easy that we can do for breakfast. I kind of battle with what we should do when we're doing these videos, and almost all the time breakfast comes up. It's everybody's, I don't eat breakfast, I don't like breakfast, and they're not even eating cereal. So I think we need to eat more breakfast. So we're gonna do that. Are you finding yourself taking an Eggo waffle, popping it in your toaster oven, putting it on a plate, slathering fake maple syrup on it, and microwaving yesterday's coffee?
That sucks.
And, well, you deserve more than that. So we're gonna do what I call kick-ass breakfast. So how do you make a kick-ass breakfast? It's not just organic cereal with almond milk, although that's pretty kick-ass. We're going to do a smoked salmon hash, and I had a little dilemma with the flavoring of this hash when I went to Fresh Time, and I went back in the meat department. I stared at this wall of really not a lot of everything's ground beef. There was no really steak. I was gonna make like a steak and potato hash. And the idea of having a maybe leftover steak from last night or meat, and we can slice it up and put it in a hash. But I ended up getting a smoked salmon, so we're gonna make the smoked salmon hash. It got a little creative, which is what I kind of really push people to do. If you had in mind to get the steak and you end up getting smoked salmon, that's fine too. So let's get started. Over here I've got some potatoes boiling. I've got these little new potatoes. Let me poke this here and show you. It's a little tiny white potato. And what's nice now is instead of walking by some of these little fancy things you used to do, now we're all cooking at home and not able to eat out. Buy some of these fancier things. We're gonna keep the skin on them. We're just gonna boil them. They've been cooking here for about 15 minutes until they're soft. Now, let's start, as that cooks, with a roasted grapefruit. My wife and I, before Maggie was born, stayed at a bed and breakfast up in northern Wisconsin by the Apostle Islands. They serve this roasted grapefruit. I'm telling you, this was like 30 years ago, and we do it all the time. Maggie loves it. It's weird and awesome, and I've never seen it ever anywhere before that or since. You've got the top of the grapefruit where the stem would normally be. You don't want to cut it down like that. We're gonna cut it sideways. So you can see that. We're gonna cut it right through the side here. Nice sharp knife. And you get these nice little perfect grapefruit. Even smells good, smell that. Oh, look at the color. Oh my gosh, that looks great on camera. Take this weirdo knife. I don't know, where did we get this, Maggie? I don't know. I don't remember where this came from. But it's got this curved blade on the side here. It's got this weird double blade. Let me separate these here. It's got this weirdo double blade here. If you don't have one of these, you're totally screwed. No, this is like a grapefruit cutting knife. It's very, very strange, you know? Rather than trying to get in here and cut around here, is we're gonna cut these little segments out of here because I think a lot of people don't wanna mess with this because it's a pain in the neck. But we're making a kick-ass breakfast, we need to make a nice grapefruit. So we're gonna take the little curved blade and we're gonna cut around these little things in between each little segment slice here. We're gonna go in between with this little double weirdo blade thing here. And we're gonna go between each of these little segment things here. And we're gonna just slice kind of these little segments, like kind of like cutting an orange, bougie style, okay? We're gonna roast this, and when it cooks, these little segments are gonna pop out of here, and we're gonna be able to take it, see how this separates? We're gonna take our spoon and scoop it right out rather than fighting it and juicing it out. We're gonna put a little brown sugar on top, okay? Not too much, but don't be cheap, okay? Just a little brown sugar, real vanilla just right on top, just no secret, just squeeze it right on there. We're gonna throw this under a broiler, or in the broiler. We preheated our oven to broil, and we're just gonna put it right under the broiler there for about 10 minutes, okay? This won't actually burn, it's too juicy. It'll just get nice and charred on the outside. So set a timer, don't forget, here we go. So our grapefruit's roasting, real time here. This is how you're gonna do this. You wanna do one thing at a time. We're gonna, sometimes recipes you have to read the recipe, step back a little bit and say, well, can I cook the potatoes ahead that I'm going to saute or roast later on? Ooh, I can get those boiling. While that's going and I clean up my board, I can roast my grapefruit. And then while my grapefruit's cooking, I can come over here and make my hash, and it'll all come together at the same time. That's what I'm good at. That's what we do a lot of, you know. I got my little, it's like a 9-inch saute pan, not a nonstick pan. We don't like those. Don't use nonstick pans. No good. So we're gonna take our onion. I have a peeled onion here, okay? So I'm gonna use about, well, what are we using here? It's kind of obtusely cut here. We'll use about a third there, I guess you'd call that, okay? So give this a little nice little dice. Learn how to do this. Now's the time to pick some of these little knife skills up. And we're gonna slice right across there. And we got a nice little pile of onion. So I've got a little pizza pan here. Let's go on the back side here and scoop these in. A little olive oil, now dry pan, okay? A little touch of olive oil on there. Let's make sure it's high heat and get a little saute going on here. I really, I do care about what the smoked salmon is going to be at the end of the day, because like everything else that's sort of a already prepared product that's already made. This to me is about as prepared as I like to go. I even have a hard time buying ground beef. That's a little too yucky for me, but I do it. I break my rule. Quite frankly, even for those customers of mine that have done it before, pre-done, professionally smoked salmon and sliced in a package has always, in my experience, been much better than someone who went fishing in Lake Michigan and pulled out a salmon that's, it just doesn't always turn out that good for the backyard smokers. There's a whole lot to figure out on that. You can't just throw it in a smoker and call yourself a smoked salmon master. But here's the big surprise with this. Bought this thing for almost 10 bucks, okay? I pulled it open. Look what I got. 3 tiny little pieces. I'm raising my prices. Again, remember I talked about prep here? You need to make sure that I don't want to cut this juicy, kind of sticky, salmony, fishy smoked salmon on my board and then have to clean it up. I want that to be the last thing we visit here while we're making our hash. So prep, think about that. Okay? Again, this is gonna be a smoked salmon and potato hash. Love it, it's gonna be weird, kind of different. And we're just gonna give it a little light chop here, okay? So just a little loose, we're gonna nothing fancy here. It's not gonna look the greatest here, but let's taste this. Pretty good, that's not too bad. Look at that. Okay, so your onions, what I tend to do is if my fire's still going, my onions are about where I want them. Let's just pull those off. Pull those off to the side, keep your fire burning. We're gonna bring them right back to the fire in 1 second. Potatoes, they're cooked, we've tested them. You're gonna pull one out. Here, we're gonna pull one out, give it a little squeeze. It just pops apart like that, look at that. It's just falling apart, okay? So let's drain these guys. My little makeshift sink here. We're gonna keep them in the pan, okay? For now, I'm gonna show you why. We're gonna use our little wooden spoon and just kind of give these a quick mash. Don't destroy them, okay? Cooking is about, passion and, sexy. You don't want to destroy these things. Unless your view of passion and sexy is destruction, I don't know. Okay, so people are going, wait, I love destroying things. Back on the fire. So your onions are sauteed. You need to build this flavor. Here's your, we're gonna make like a hash browns. Now, in we go. We're gonna take a little butter. Don't be cheap here. Nice chunk of butter. Don't be afraid of butter. Shut up and put the butter in there, okay? Let the butter just start melting right on top of the pan. We've already got heat in here. Let's put the potatoes right in here. All right, so you can see the butter kind of halfway melting in there. We've got onions in the bottom. We've got our potatoes on top. Give this a little shake. It's not a non-stick pan. It's not gonna stick. And if it does, we've got our little scraper here to scrape it out of there. We want all that crunchy stuff in here, okay? Add just a little bit of salt and pepper. My salt is mixed with pepper already. A little bit of salt and pepper in there, okay? A little bit of olive oil. What does the olive oil do? It's a nice flavor. We don't want this to be greasy, but we want the butter. We don't want the butter to burn. So the olive oil will protect a little bit of that butter from getting too hot because it's really high heat. You can tell. You can see our onions kind of browning on the side here, and it's going to give a nice flavor. I'll just give this a little toss. Get your potatoes and onions mixed together. I've got a little like a fish spatula here, okay? Or I wouldn't call that a hamburger spatula, but a little spatula. Get in here and scrape all the stickies off of there, and let this cook. So this is basically done. See how simple this is? Come on, this takes about 10 times what it would to pour a bowl of cereal. But now we've got to kick that breakfast. Look at this, you guys. All right. You've got this grapefruit that's just perfect. And it's got a little browning on the outside. And when you squeeze it, it's just full of juice like that. Unbelievable. Look at these little segments. Look at the segments. They just pop out of there, okay? All right, there. So there's your grapefruit. We'll visit that in a second. Here's your potato hash. Get under here. Just scrape away. Make sure you get all the nice brown stickies off of here. Give it a flip. This is the time to get better at your flipping. Your potatoes are nice and creamy. See how soft and silky these are? That's awesome, okay? A little black pepper right out of the mill, extra in here, okay? We want that nice flavor. Then we go with the little herbs de Provence, okay? See that nice little sprinkle of, that's a dried herb, okay? You can put a fresh sage or something on here. Fresh sage or fresh thyme, great, no problem. Rosemary would be a little intense maybe, but maybe that'd be a little more for the evening. Here we go, let's get our little smoked salmon in here. Okay, we don't want to kill the smoked salmon. We just want to kind of have this rolling around warm in here, okay? That looks really good. All right, now, look at this, okay? See how sticky it is on the outside? Look at that, love it. Boom, flip it, smoked salmon is starting to get kind of opaque in there like that. You're done. off we go. As we do, let's plate it. I'm excited. You excited, Frog?
So excited.
All right, look at that, okay. Here's our roasted grapefruit. Look at this. Okay, roasted grapefruit. You gotta put that in a bowl. It's got so much juice hanging around in there. Roasted grapefruit. You guys gotta try this. It's just unbelievable. Okay, perfect. Enjoy. That is a kick-ass breakfast. Peace, see you next time.